Welcome to Illinois in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I'm Dan McCaleb, Chief Content Officer at Franklin News Foundation, publisher of the Center Square Newswire service. 2025 is almost upon us. We ring in the new year next week. Joining me to take a look back at the year that was in Illinois is Greg Bishop, Illinois Associate Editor. Greg, it was a presidential election year. Longtime former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan has been on trial on corruption-related charges for the past 3 months. It's been a year of courtroom drama over challenges to Illinois' ban on more than 170 semi-automatic weapons. It's been a newsy year, Greg. Where should we start?
You know, I think maybe with the Madigan trial, with as the level of history this holds, just how much is involved in all of this, and how people have been waiting for this. Some may have been waiting for it for a decade plus. Others definitely since it was revealed Madigan was public official A in the summer of 2020 when the federal prosecutors revealed the ComEd deferred prosecution agreement. So I think that definitely in the scheme of 2024, the ongoing corruption trial of Michael Madigan, the longest serving House Speaker in history, who is also the chairman of the Democratic Party of Illinois, being charged with co-defendant Michael McLean in using Madigan's public office to curry favor and little to do nothing jobs for them and their associates in order to get favorable legislation passed for utilities. I mean, that's the allegation here. Nearly 10-year long scheme that prosecutors allege. And it takes quite some time to get to this point where Madigan is facing trial. Now, we won't have the outcome in 2024, Dan, but we definitely had the start of Madigan's trial, which is now in about 12 weeks of testimony and evidence, and the defense is providing their case. So we've had a long slog to get to this point of getting some accountability in court, with Madigan pleading not guilty and McLean pleading not guilty. We'll see what comes out in the end, sometime in the new year.
Yeah, obviously because of the Christmas holiday, there's been a brief break in the trial. New testimony is new witnesses brought by the defense is expected next week, and then jury deliberations sometime in late January, early February, and hopefully a conclusive verdict one way or another, and not a hung jury. Voters across the country reelected Donald Trump to the White House, but there also were elections in Illinois. Democrats again won supermajorities in the House and the Senate. What are the top takeaways from the Illinois-specific elections, Greg?
And let's just focus there on the top of the ticket a little bit, Dan, because Trump didn't just win the national electoral vote; he won the national popular vote. In a state like Illinois, and even in other Democrat-dominated states, Trump did much better than he did in previous years. And in Illinois, actually gained ground to where it was 45 to 55. Trump getting 45%, Kamala Harris getting, roughly 54%. So Trump made some headway in Illinois. What I think the big takeaway is that didn't translate to state house seats or to congressional seats because of what Republicans say are gerrymandered maps. So again, there was virtually no change whatsoever in the makeup of the Illinois State House from November's election, despite all of the issues that Republicans raised against Democrats, the issue of Mike Madigan, for instance, and a whole host of other things concerning the economy and the non-citizen migrant crisis, a variety of other things, Illinois' economic situation, its population situation, those types of things clearly Republicans had, but they didn't make any leeway at all. It's status quo for the makeup of the Illinois House and the Illinois Senate. And they're saying that that's because the way the maps are drawn. One particular state representative, Ryan Spain, he highlighted how if Trump got 44% of the votes across the state, that's not reflected in the other outcomes of the races. Right. Illinois, the Republicans only have like 20% of the overall state house makeup. They only have about 20% or so of the congressional makeup. So they say that Illinois' outcomes in the election are really not because of what Governor J.B. Pritzker may say was a show of support for Democrat policies, but Republicans say what it really is, the outcome of the election with Trump making headwinds and getting 44% of the votes, while that does not reflect the percentage of Republicans in the state house or the state senate. It's not because they like Democrat policies. It's because the maps are gerrymandered, written, drawn, approved by Democrats to favor Democrats.
Greg, another big story that I referenced up front, this challenge to the 2023 law banning all kinds of semi-automatic weapons and also magazines above certain capacities. When the new law went into effect, it was immediately challenged by a number of different groups in both state court and federal court, where there have been some court hearings and even a trial in those challenges. Feels like you spent about a third of your year covering these cases and these challenges. Greg, where are we at?
Yeah, and this wasn't just a big story for 2024. It was a big story for 2023 when the law was enacted in January. And if you recall, the lawsuits were filed back then. And even in 2023, there was a preliminary injunction, an initial holding of the law, while it went all the way up to the Supreme Court and they said this case isn't ready yet. So then it had to go back to the district courts. And in district court, they took the case further, held a 4-day bench trial where eventually, just a handful of weeks ago here in 2024, Dan, Southern District of Illinois federal judge Stephen McGlynn ruled the law was unconstitutional. But now we're in the appeals court and it's on final action. The appeals courts put a stay on McGlynn's ruling. And we wait. So we'll obviously have the very latest on all of these stories at thecentersquare.com.
Greg, we could talk about a number of other big stories in Illinois, but we are all out of time. Happy New Year. Talk to you next year.
Happy New Year.